All right. Well, I'm out here this morning, and I know it's I don't like to work on mowers and get anything started before 10 a.m. just as a courtesy to my neighbors, but in this case I'm not going to be making a whole lot of noise. I'm going to work on an electric mower, so let me show you what I got. Yeah, so this is a Greenworks 21-inch blade. You know, it has all the standard stuff. The what you got there, girly? The grass catcher bag. There you go. And this one is a plug-in. So, and I have not worked on this brand before, but they're basically the same, right? The plugins, which I really don't see around much more. I've got probably another one under the tarp or whatever, but you can see it actually looks like a pretty nice mower, doesn't it? It has the big rear wheels, the single lever height adjustment. You know, you can see how it's connected all the way around, so that just one lever and you can control the height of your mower and blade. But this one, when you plug it in, it just does nothing, right? Alright, so first let me plug this sucker in and show you what it's not doing. Alright, I think this one's long enough, but I think that's one of the big downfalls with these plug-in ones. You know, you got to have a pretty long extension cord, and you're kind of limited to the length of it also. So you have that long cord that you have to manage while you're running around. Hey girl, what are you doing? You want that? Go get it. Alright, so, and you can see up here, you're supposed to push that in. Okay, so you push it in, and then when you hold this back, you can see the button remains pushed, and you'll hear it pop out when but it's not doing anything, right? So what I'm going to do to troubleshoot this stuff, of course you have your input here. You got to make sure you got a good power input. You have a switch you have to make sure it's getting through. Make sure there's power getting down the cable. You've got the cable itself, all right? And once it reaches the motor here, on these plug-in versions, you're having to convert from AC to DC, and then it gets to the motor. It's a DC motor. Within the motor, you have a failure point there also. You could have the brushes could be worn out, or it could be the motor itself. I've seen some motors that, you know, they're sealed and they have the magnets around it, and I've seen those all cracked up and just demolished before. So those are your points that you got to check, right? With a battery operated one, it's a little different. Of course, you have the battery, which is your source. You have to make sure the battery's good. Then you've got you still have a switch that you're going to have to check out, and then when it reaches the motor, it's already DC. And I don't know if they have a DC regulator or something to make it 24 volts, 36 volts, and up, whatever they are now. With these lithium-ion packs, they're getting some pretty heavy-duty voltage out of them. But with this one, this was the AC plug-in, so we're going to go through and troubleshoot this. And I guess at first, I just noticed that is wobbling around here. Yeah, so I'm going to start here. Given the state of the housing here, I'm going to go ahead and take this off and check out the motor. Maybe the motor is damaged, who knows. Well, let's see. And these look like Torx. And I haven't worked on a Greenworks before. This is my first. Seems like it's always Black & Decker are the ones that I've worked on. And there we go. Let's see what broke in here. Let me get you closer in so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so this outer housing, it looks like a lot of the plastic has snapped off. See, there's a fastener right there. And, you know, my guess is, because this housing sticks up so far, and they're probably, when they're mowing and they're trying to get under something, they probably banged it. Are there any scars? And just banged it around and knocked that thing off. But anyway, alright, so this is what we're looking at. This is one of the main problems. This is a bridge rectifier. So you have the AC, you know, coming through here. It gets to the bridge rectifier and it converts it to DC. And then, like this blue one coming down, can you see? I'm going to have to hold the camera for you. So there's the bridge rectifier. You've got your inputs, the black and the white, and your outputs. This blue, the green, what is that? Well, first we'll follow the blue. You see the way it goes to the motor. And the yellow here. Oh, look at that. That is totally loose. That is not even connected to the motor. See that wiggling around? That might be the problem right there. But to continue on, this is the bridge rectifier, and usually I'll plug it in, and then I'll check the input power if it's showing AC power getting to it, and then I'll check the DC power exiting. And I mean, of course, if there's no DC power that you can measure, then you know it's a bad rectifier. But usually when these are going out, I've seen them also when you plug them in and you turn it on and poof, it throws a breaker. And you know it's probably the rectifier. Now down here where it's connected, these are spring loaded, and that's where you have the brushes for your motor. Now the brushes will run out. That's very common. So those are always replaced, and it's kind of a cheap replacement. You know, $10 or so for a set of brushes for these. Usually, well, I don't know about this particular one, but I know all the Black & Deckers on stuff I've done from $7 to $10. And but I've also seen, like I said, on these motors where the inside of this is lined with magnets, and I've seen where they've abused the mower and banged it around and actually cracked the magnets on these things, and it's just worthless. But these are your two main failure points: the brushes on the motor and your bridge rectifier. And that's, of course, with the plug-in version. And the battery operated ones are a little different. It doesn't have the bridge rectifier. They do have brushes unless they specifically say that it's a brushless motor. But I'm sure I'll be covering one of these underneath my tarp there. I've got a few of them that are battery operated, and I don't know if it's the motor or the battery bad, right? so we can go back and troubleshoot those. But for this one, I'm going to take this off. It looks like it comes off pretty easy, this whole top plate here. Get it out of the way and reconnect this cable. and we'll see if that was the problem. So to double check, let's see, I just plugged it in. So I just pushed the power button on, and I have a clamp holding the lever there, so we can check the power. And oh, let's see where to start. Let's try the connection. I'm going to see the output from here and here. It should be DC. And this is probably the ground, the negative, and oh, wow, plenty of power. So I think that's the problem. It's just this cable here is shot. Let's see, let me set those aside. Let's see, how can I get this out of the way? Yeah, it's just not connected at all. Isn't that something? Let me see if I can get this connected, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Yeah. So I'm just connecting this yellow wire back. You can see the connector there. Looks just like that one. And I might have to get some needle nose pliers to squeeze down there and reconnect it. Alright, let's see if I can get this sucker in there. Almost. There we go. Let's get that out of the way. And this went around. Let's get that out of the way. Something pinched the wire. You can see that little crease. I think it was sitting over here like this. And something happened and should be about like that. I'm going to secure this down first, then we'll power it up and see what happens. Okay, now let me power it up and see what happens here. Let's stand back in case sparks fly. And well, that was it. Yeah, so that was a super easy fix. I almost wish I had to replace a part just so I can show you. But you saw the main parts, that bridge rectifier and the brushes on the motor. And I can even show you a picture or something of all this stuff. Well, I'll probably insert it in during the video or something so you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was an easy fix. But just going through just the basic troubleshooting on it, going from your power source, checking your cables, checking all the interaction points where power is transferred, right? The power source, the switch, the cables, your bridge rectifier if it has one, and the brushes on the motor, and then the motor itself. And that's with a plug-in AC. With the DC, you check your batteries, then you check your switch, your cables. You're going to have to check if it has a power regulator. It's not going to have a bridge rectifier because it's already DC. But the same thing, you check if it has a DC control box, and then you check the brushes on the motor and the motor itself. So there's very few moving parts, but the brushes are definitely moving and they do wear out, and they're actually an easy fix. I might have a video on that. It's been so long since I've done it, but I'm sure I'll have another one coming up here. I have a stack of these electric mowers, but I'll be working on them later. But with this one, actually, I guess I'll try to secure that plastic housing. I'll see what cracked or whatever. Maybe just super glue will hold it. Who knows? But everything else looks pretty good. Then I'll check the blade. I didn't even check the blade under there. But if it needs sharpening, I'll sharpening it just like a regular old mower. But that's it. You know, these electric mowers are not that complicated, but safety wise, definitely, you know, you don't want to get electrocuted, so so safety's in mind in that aspect. Just don't get foolish with it, and they're actually pretty easy to work on. So stay tuned. I'll have some other videos coming up very soon. I'm going to start working on this stack of mowers I have here, and we'll see what goes on. But other than that, I guess as usual, be sure to like, subscribe, and watch for my next video.